Right now, the Madison School District getting involved in the F-35 debate. The actions taken at tonight's board meeting.
And the latest on an active homicide investigation in rural Sauk County where a body was discovered over the weekend.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 10.
And thanks for joining us. We're continuing to follow the ongoing debate surrounding the Air Force placing F-35 jets in Madison.
Today we heard from community leaders and the Madison Metropolitan School Board who all say they don't want the jets here. Amy Reed joins us now to explain their position.
In the nearly 2 months since the draft environmental impact statement came out, we've heard a lot from people who want the jets and people who don't. This week, we're coming to the end of public comment period, and now some say we need more time.
There's been a lot of conflicting information out there and misinformation regarding this proposal.
State Representative Chris Taylor led the charge Monday, asking for 60 additional days to review the Air Force's draft environmental impact statement on F-35 jets coming to Madison. She said key pieces are missing from the report, and the Air Force needs to get those to the people that will be impacted most.
We don't even know the peak decibel levels of these jets when they take off and land. Nowhere is that in this environmental impact statement. We deserve, our community needs to know that information. That has been included in other environmental impact statements. For some reason, it's not in ours.
Retired Air Force Colonel Roseanne Greco flew in from Burlington, Vermont to back her up. Greco's community recently went through the same debate as Madison. She said the Air Guard is lying about how large of an impact this will have on people near Truax.
Until the EIS came out, I was for the F-35. I was for it based on what the Vermont Air Guard officials told me. And then when the document came out, I read it, and it contradicted what the Guard said.
She said the jets will be up to 4 times louder than the F-16s, and if that's true, doctors worry about the effects the excess noise will have.
It overproduces stress hormones. It interrupts sleep. It can cause increases in blood pressure, impacts on cardiovascular disease, ringing in the ear, negative effects on mental health. But for children, the impacts are far greater.
The Madison School Board was concerned about the impacts on children, too. There are at least 10 schools in or around the 65 decibel contour provided in the draft statement. Those closest could have interfering events at least twice a day. Schools that are just outside the impact area, like Hawthorne Elementary, would not be eligible for federal soundproofing money. Monday night, they read their resolution asking the Air Force to reconsider Madison as a preferred location. Besides general impact to school children, the school board worried about the disproportionate effect they said the noise could have on communities of color and lower income communities. Community activist Brandy Grayson echoed that.
I don't have the funds to move. I moved to the north side of Madison because the south side gentrification moved me out. I could no longer afford it.
Supporters of the new jets, like the Chamber of Commerce, say getting the F-35s would be a big economic boost for the area. We also spoke with a former F-16 pilot who flew out of Truax. He said the concerns opponents have are overstated, and he does believe the environmental impact statement is a worst-case scenario. We reached out to the Air National Guard for confirmation, but they did not get back to us. However you feel, currently the end of public comment is Friday. We'll link you on our website where you can submit that.
An explosion in northeastern Wisconsin this afternoon sent 4 people to the hospital. This happened around 4 in the town of Grant in Shawano County. All of the injured people were flown to the hospital. The sheriff's department says there's a lot of damage to the home, but no additional safety concerns for anyone else in that area.
OSHA now investigating the death of a contractor outside a Lake Delton hotel this afternoon. Happened in the Hotel Rome parking lot about 2:30. Police say private contractors were doing utility work when the victim was hit by an excavator. After a preliminary investigation, no criminal activity is believed to have been a factor. Authorities are investigating a homicide in rural Sauk County after a body was found in the town of Fairfield. It's about 20 minutes northeast of Baraboo.
We're waiting to learn the name of the victim as authorities notify family members, only identifying him as a white middle-aged man. Madeline O'Neill has more.
Out here on Levee Road amongst the plants and wildlife. It might be easy for things to go unnoticed.
It's very wooded.
But Sunday, a caller happened upon a body.
It's the pull-off on Levee Road. The reporting party said they did not believe the person was breathing at the time.
Autopsy results rule the cause of death a homicide.
This is a very initial stages of this investigation at this point.
Sauk County Sheriff Chip Meister says that means there are still a lot of unknowns. He couldn't say how the man was killed or how long his body had been out there. And although there are few neighbors in this area, Meister is asking for their help.
We also ask that if anyone has any cameras, whether they be trail cameras or house cameras, that they notify the Sheriff's Department as well so we can speak to them.
In the meantime, authorities don't believe anyone in the area has any reason to worry.
We believe that this individual was targeted, and we believe that there is no danger to the public at this time.
The Sauk County Sheriff's Department asks anyone with information to call 188-TIP-SAUK. Now we're expecting to learn more information later this week, and we'll keep you updated.
Maddie, thank you. Our first alert forecast now. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti in the Weather Center. Gary.
After a wet weekend, dried out today, we have plenty of sunshine. As we take a look at the satellite and radar on weather track, things pretty quiet across Wisconsin. The next weather system still well out to the west of us, so right now no rain showing up on Doppler track. High temperatures today, we're on the mild side. We should see high temperatures in the middle 60s. We're about 10 degrees above that. In the middle 70s, La Crosse is almost at 80. Milwaukee hit 76. Madison topped out at 74. Current temperatures have cooled off into the upper 50s to lower 60s for the most part. Dew point temperatures are in the lower to middle 50s, and that's about how low temperatures will go for tonight. So I'm looking for low temperatures to drop into the middle 50s. Skies will become partly sunny for tomorrow. It'll be breezy and mild with a high temperature of 76, but there are some thunderstorms in the forecast for tomorrow night. That's your News 3 Now First Alert forecast.
A developing story tonight. Newsweek is reporting an inmate has confessed to the murder of Teresa Hallbach, and it is not Stephen Avery or Brendan Dassey. According to the director of an upcoming documentary about this case, an inmate confessed to the film crew during an interview. That director, Sean Reck, told Newsweek they've not confirmed the legitimacy of that confession, but calls the inmate in question a notable convicted murderer in Wisconsin. The inmate's identity has not been released. News 3 and Channel 3000 will continue to follow this story. Governor Evers is ordering a special election to be held in early 2020 to fill the now vacant 7th congressional district seat. Sean Duffy's resignation effective today. The primary will be December 30th. Special election January 27th. Congressman Duffy resigned, citing concerns with the pending birth of his 9th child, who has been diagnosed with a heart defect. Democratic National Committee raising polling and donor thresholds for qualifying for the party's 2020 presidential primary debates. Now, this applies for the 5th debate in November. Candidates need to reach 3% in at least 4 DNC-approved polls, or candidates can reach at least 5% in 2 polls in early voting states. They'll also have to raise money from 165,000 separate donors. That's up from 130,000 previously.
There's controversy surrounding a homecoming parade float that appeared in Blanchardville this weekend. The school district was quick to call it racist, but others believe it was just a joke. Ahead of the game between Pecatonica, Argyle, and Southwestern, the 2004 alumni rode on this float. The sign says Trump needs a wall to deal with the Southwestern crew. The woman who posted the photo says she's now scared to show her face because of angry messages she's received. But some say it was all in good fun, just taken the wrong way.
I just thought it was a joke toward the president, you know. He wants to build this wall and nobody else wants to build it, you know.
A joke made at the expense of an oppressed group of people, and people do die from this kind of thing. This incites violence. Pantomiming it during a parade is one thing, but kids seeing that might think that that's appropriate behavior to then go out and replicate, and that is absolutely not okay.
The Pecatonica School District put out a statement shortly after the game saying it strongly condemns the racist float and it does not represent the school district, its current student body, or its staff. The village president commented saying it's a non-issue. Because the parade is put on by the Alumni Association, the village government does not get a say in what appears on the floats.
The Green Bay police chief denying rumors that he's being tapped as the next chief of police in Milwaukee. A rumor stated that Chief Andrew Smith had even toured Milwaukee Police headquarters. He says it's not true, calling it nothing more than a fabricated and unfounded rumor. UW Transportation is considering changing campus bus routes, which officials say would reduce crowding on buses and improve access for those with disabilities. Tonight, UW Transportation listened to student input and explained its proposals, part of which include an additional 2 buses to the already 7 on-campus routes to help shorten some wait times.
All of these changes are coming from a student perspective to solve the problems that we see. And It's really time for something to change so that the expanding campus population can be served better.
The changes will require an increase in costs, which will increase student segregated fees. Changes to bus routes wouldn't happen until next September.
A 2-mile stretch of the Capital City Trail will be closing at the beginning of next month for construction. Between Fish Hatchery Road and Seminole Highway, crews will be resurfacing the trail and replacing a bridge. Work is expected to be done in November. Registration for high school sports across Wisconsin is dropping.
When we come back, how that is shifting the game plan for some athletic programs in our area. Stay with us. Athletic departments across Wisconsin have had to get creative to keep their programs going strong and their players safe.
Over the last decade, high school football has seen a nearly 25% drop in participation statewide, meaning more than 7,600 fewer students are playing the game.
Danica Lewis has more from 2 schools that have had to change how they play the game just to keep it going.
Anytime you're trying to run a football program and you're only getting 20-some kids out for football, you're not going to be able to sustain that program. Ready, go!
It's safe to say Corey Mills has seen some hard hits in his coaching career.
Ready, go!
He's had to draft up countless strategies to stay ahead.
Give everybody a ball. We got enough footballs?
And the same goes for making sure there are enough players to defend Blackhawks state title.
School enrollments at both schools have drastically kind of fallen in the last decade as farm families kind of retire. Young members of those families don't go into the farming business.
But they do go out for football. In fact, 4 of every 5 boys at Blackhawk High School play. But watching Wisconsin experience a 25% drop in the number of football players, Coach Mills knew the Warriors had to adapt.
So obviously things you can't control are a part of that. So parent buy-in, community support.
The hardest sell,
That state line is like a wall.
connecting teammates, parents, communities across the border, pairing up with Warren, Illinois to field a full program.
It's a mixed bag, you know, you can imagine. Some are really supportive because they understand the big picture.
The big picture of maintaining a JV squad where younger players aren't getting hurt and building a foundation for future football at both schools.
Just the community support and the ability to keep our young kids dreaming, right, and wanting to be a part of it someday. There you go, 16 counter gut gap.
The co-op means players are traveling back and forth 11 miles or so for every practice. But Mills says it's better than the alternative.
10, 11, 12, 13. We had to go door to door recruiting guys. Hustle, 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 hustle. There we go, there we go.
Sustaining the Braves of Belmont has meant some adjustments for Coach Brandon Weiss as well.
Sprint, 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 sprint.
He looked into a co-op.
We wanted to maintain our pride and we wanted to maintain black and orange and go forward as Belmont.
So Weiss opted for another route, cutting back to 8-man ball.
Job him. Hit.
That means traveling about 3 hours to get to one of their away games this year.
It was something new, and people don't always know what new looks like, and I was one of those. 2 years ago, it was something new to me.
New, but also becoming more and more common. 8-player programs have more than doubled here in Wisconsin over the past 5 years.
Give them a chance to be successful and to represent their school and give it their all. Every week it's something that's priceless, in my opinion.
With the reality of rosters and teams feeling the impact.
Sprint, sprint, sprint! All the way, all the way!
Yeah, it might matter if you win or lose.
Blue, fake 20, post, pick.
But at least they get to play the game.
Blue, 34.
Danica Lewis, News 3 Now.
Football is far from the only sport dealing with less participation at the high school level.
Stats show over the last decade, registration for boys sports dropped more than 11% across Wisconsin, and girls programs saw nearly 8% fewer players over that time. We have more on that data. You can find it at channel3000.com.
Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti joins us now with a look at our forecast.
It was a nice first day of fall today. It was dry, which is important, but there is more rain in the forecast at times. But today was the autumnal equinox. That's when the sun's rays are directly over the equator. So basically the entire Earth has 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of darkness. And you can see that light right over the equator from the sun. Now, with time, our days are going to get shorter here in the northern hemisphere, and by the beginning of winter in early or late December, that's when we'll see our shortest day of the year. 7-day precipitation, though, well, we've had far too much. 3 to 6 inches over southwestern Wisconsin, another area up around Viroqua and northern portions of Richland County. Going back before that, there was another 5 to 10 inches of rain. We're just waterlogged, 1 to 2 inches through the Madison area, lesser amounts over toward Milwaukee, but right now Doppler track free of precipitation. Good news, don't even really see much upstream other than some thunderstorms north of North Dakota. That's actually with the next cold front that'll be in here for tomorrow night. Storm Prediction Center has a slight risk of severe thunderstorms west of Madison, a marginal risk from Madison eastward. That's mainly for hail and gusty winds. The storms will probably be weakening when they get to us around midnight. Rainfall amounts, according to our main computer model that we forecast with here, showing about a ½ inch across southern Wisconsin generally. Some areas less than that, some areas perhaps an inch or more. The area most likely to see the heavier rain now starting to shift a little bit farther toward the north and west toward La Crosse. Now, when we look farther out in the future with the GFS computer model, this is the main U.S. forecasting model, it shows heavier rain toward the La Crosse area through early Friday morning, but not even as much as the RPM model shows. But look what happens over the weekend. Heavy rains across parts of northern Illinois, and then as we start to get into the early part of next week, more showers and thunderstorms with the possibility for several inches of rain over much of the central Midwest. And hopefully these numbers are not correct, but the computer models have been showing them consistently. The European computer model is showing pretty much the same story. Not as much rain in the short term, but after that, this weekend down to the south, and then pretty much the same story. More rain moving in for Tuesday, Wednesday, perhaps even into early Thursday with the possibility for several inches of rain. So that does bear some watching. As we take a look at the live view from the Edgewater Skycam, no rain tonight. Skies are clear. It's actually a pretty nice night out there. The humidity has dropped. High today 74, the low 54, and right now we're at a pleasant 58 degrees with clear skies. The air is calm. Dew point temperature at 54, so we'll see temperatures very similar to what we saw last night. High temperatures today, mid to upper 70s over much of the state of Wisconsin, even though the average high temperature is in the low to mid 60s. Current temperatures now are in the 50s across much of the state. Rhinelander's already down to 47 degrees. But again, we should see a nice day tomorrow before the showers and thunderstorms reach us tomorrow night. Overnight, look for mostly clear skies, a pleasant night, low temperature dropping to 54. Tomorrow, a partly sunny, breezy, and mild day with a high temperature of 76. As we check out future track, things pretty quiet overnight, mostly clear skies, lows mid-50s. High temperatures tomorrow topping out in the mid-70s. Tomorrow night, here come those showers and thunderstorms, but they move through pretty quickly. By morning, they're already gone by early Wednesday morning. And then Wednesday, we'll see partly sunny skies with high temperatures right around 70 degrees. Rainfall amounts, again, some areas less than a tenth of an inch, but generally around a half inch with some heavier amounts perhaps north and west of Madison. But if we take a look at the 7 to 10 day forecast, again, shower and thunderstorm chances come back Thursday night into Friday, and then the early part of next week looks particularly wet. Temperatures will be on the mild side, will be in the 70s, but also will be humid as well, and we just don't need any more rain, maybe a cool off toward the end of the week.
Wow. All right. Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Gary. Short week for the Packers. A Thursday night game against Philadelphia. So how does Aaron Rodgers feel? Well, there's a story next in sports.
News
it is a pretty good time to be a sports fan in Wisconsin, starting with the Brewers. 2 series left in the regular season. They're on the road for both of them, starting in Cincinnati tomorrow night and then wrapping it up in Colorado this weekend. So here's a look at the National League wildcard right now. The Brewers currently tied with the Nationals, but they're only 3 games behind the Cardinals in the NL Central. St. Louis finishes with a series in Arizona. They started that one tonight. Right now they're at 4-2 in the 5th, followed by a series hosting the Cubs this weekend. Packers undefeated after beating the Broncos yesterday. Lots of props to the Green Bay offensive line. Aaron Rodgers said after the game that this was the cleanest his jersey has ever been because he barely got touched yesterday. And with a short week, the Packers host the Eagles on Thursday. This is very, very important for the health and recovery of the players.
Yeah, it feels amazing. It really does. Usually these short weeks, your body is killing you until about Wednesday, and then the next day you play. That will not be the case for me this week, so I'm feeling really good about that. I really appreciate the offensive line for the way they protected today, and it'll be a nice week of preparation.
On to our 3rd successful team in the state right now, the Badgers. Wisconsin 3-0, and Jonathan Taylor adding another accolade today, Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week for the 2nd time this season and 6th one of his career. Wisconsin ranked 8th in the country right now, so for the guys from this state, like Zach Bond, he's from Brown Deer, and Tyler Biotish, the Amherst native, how cool is it to be part of the winning trifecta right now?
Yeah, I see it on Twitter all the time. It's good to have Wisconsin and represent Wisconsin the way we do. We can just take care of what the Badgers are doing right now, but it's good to see all the teams winning.
I try to lock it in football, and it's good to hear, though, that they're doing well. I mean, I did see the Pack game. I did see the Packer games, I should say. Brewers, they're good, too. I like them. I mean, I'm a good in-state home guy. I like all our teams, and I'm glad they're doing well. It's really impressive for Wisconsin.
To high school now, another competitive Big 8 showdown for our Prep Mania game of the week this week. Verona suffering its first loss last week. They'll try to bounce back against an undefeated Memorial squad this Friday. So make sure you join Jay Wilson, Bill Brophy, and Alan Minert for the game again this Friday, 7 p.m. live on channel3000.com. Finally tonight, if you post it, I will find it. This is how you make breakfast if you're really, really tall like Badgers forward Aleem Ford. He's a casual 6'8". The counter down here a little far for him, so that's the ceiling. He tosses his eggs up to the ceiling to crack them before frying them up. Dimitri Trice, his roommate and fellow teammate, kindly posted this video to Instagram earlier today, calling it the Egg Challenge. Don't try this at home, kids. We'll be right back.
Gary's back. Final check of our forecast.
No rain on the radar. That's always good news. Hopefully we can keep that radar free of precipitation for a while. Current temperatures have cooled off into the upper 50s. The air is dry, so it cools off pretty quickly at night. Dew point temperatures are in the low to mid 50s, so that's about how low temperatures will get tonight. Tomorrow we'll be back in the mid 70s, but we'll see a round of thunderstorms tomorrow night, and then another round from Thursday night into Friday, and then the early part of next week, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, looks to be wet, and hopefully not too much rain there.
All right, thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 10.
Do something good, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
Now.